Emmylou Harris has always sounded like someone who understands both longing and grace. Her voice carries a softness that feels almost fragile, yet beneath it lies remarkable strength. For decades, she sang about love, faithfulness, heartbreak, and hope, shaping the emotional landscape of country, folk, and what would later be called Americana. Audiences often heard tenderness in her delivery, but behind that tenderness was a woman who had to make difficult choices. Between family and ambition, stability and artistic freedom, companionship and independence. Unlike many public figures, Harris never built her identity on spectacle. She built it on songs. When trends shifted and industries hardened, she moved quietly in the direction that felt true to her. Her life was not a straight ascent toward fame, but a series of crossroads. At each one, she chose growth over comfort, that steady commitment to music, to integrity, to emotional honesty, became the foundation of a career that still resonates. Her story is not simply about success, it is about remaining authentic in a world that constantly asks artists to become something easier to sell. Roots of discipline and quiet resilience. Born in 1947 in Birmingham, Alabama, Harris grew up in a military family where discipline shaped daily life. Her father, a Marine Corps officer who served in World War II and the Korean War, carried experiences he rarely spoke about. The household valued composure and resilience. Emotions were not dramatically displayed, but quietly absorbed. Frequent relocations, from Alabama to North Carolina to Virginia, taught young Emmylou how to adapt. She learned early what it meant to be the new girl in class, to observe before speaking, to build an inner world when the outer one kept changing. At Garfield High School in Woodbridge, Virginia, she excelled academically and musically, even playing saxophone in the school band. Yet the poise she displayed publicly masked a reflective, searching nature. Music first entered her life through folk artists like Joan Baez, Bob Dylan, and Leonard Cohen. Their introspective storytelling offered her something rare, permission to feel deeply and express it without apology. When she received her first guitar from her grandfather, it became more than a gift. It became a language, one she would rely on for the rest of her life, choosing music over certainty. After high school, Harris enrolled at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro to study drama. Acting appealed to her because it provided structure, a defined role, rehearsed lines, a clear stage. She performed in plays, including Shakespeare's The Tempest, and refined her voice and presence. Yet something subtle tugged at her. While acting required her to reach for emotion, singing seemed to release it naturally. By night, she performed folk songs in small venues to support herself, and those intimate performances felt more authentic than any scripted role. In 1967, she made a bold decision. She left college and moved toward a life in music without a safety net. New York's Greenwich Village welcomed her into its folk scene, where she waited tables by day and sang in cafes by night. In 1969, she released her debut album, Gliding Bird. The record passed quietly through the market, receiving little promotion and modest attention. It might have discouraged someone else. For Harris, it became a lesson in resilience. She learned that a calling is not confirmed by immediate applause. Sometimes it asks for patience first, a transformative partnership. In the early 1970s, a pivotal encounter shifted Harris's trajectory. Through musician friends in Washington, D.C., she was introduced to Graham Parsons, a visionary blending country with rock influences. Parsons was searching for a female voice that could complement his own, and when they began to sing together, the harmony felt almost inevitable. Their collaboration resulted in the albums GP and Grievous Angel. These recordings did not initially dominate the charts, but they quietly redefined country rock. Harris's clear, expressive tone balanced Parsons' warmth and intensity, creating a sound that felt both traditional and modern. When Parsons passed away in 1973, the loss was deeply personal and professionally disorienting. She had found an artistic anchor, and suddenly it was gone. Yet instead of retreating, she chose to carry forward the musical vision they had shared. That decision required courage. She was no longer simply a collaborator, she had to stand alone. In honoring what they created together, she began stepping into her own artistic authority, stepping into her own spotlight. Harris's breakthrough as a solo artist came with Pieces of the Sky in 1975. The record revealed her ability to interpret songs with extraordinary emotional nuance. Among its tracks was Boulder to Birmingham, a heartfelt reflection that resonated with listeners far beyond country circles. The album established her as more than a promising talent. She was now a defining voice. That same year, she released Elite Hotel, which reached the top of the country charts and solidified her place in Nashville. Rather than chasing trends, she curated songs with care, selecting material that felt lived in and sincere. To support her evolving sound, she formed the Hot Band, a group of skilled musicians who blended country, rock, and folk elements seamlessly. With albums like Luxury Liner and Quarter Moon in a 10-Cent Town, she demonstrated both consistency and growth. Success arrived, but she carried it lightly. Her performances remained understated, her focus steady. She proved that depth could be commercially viable and that vulnerability could coexist with strength. Harmony and sisterhood. In the mid-1980s, Harris joined forces with two remarkable artists, Dolly Parton and Linda Ronstadt. Together they recorded the album Trio, an idea that had been delayed for years due to industry skepticism. When it was finally released in 1987, it exceeded expectations, both critically and commercially. The beauty of Trio lay not in vocal competition, but in balance. Each woman retained her identity, while contributing to a collective harmony that felt effortless. The project demonstrated that collaboration among equals could be powerful in an industry often driven by hierarchy. More than a commercial triumph, Trio symbolized solidarity and mutual respect. When Trio 2 followed years later, it reaffirmed that their chemistry was enduring. For Harris, these collaborations offered something rare, the chance to share the emotional weight of performance. She did not have to carry the spotlight alone. Harmony, in this case, was not only musical, it was relational. Life beyond the spotlight. Outside the studio, Harris's life gradually found a steadier rhythm. After several marriages, she chose not to remarry, embracing independence without bitterness. She continued to tour and record, but with greater balance. Becoming a grandmother brought a softer cadence to her days, offering connection without the pressures that once accompanied young motherhood. She also devoted significant energy to philanthropy, supporting causes such as landmine awareness and animal welfare. Her organization, Bonaparte's Retreat, reflects her deep compassion for rescue dogs and responsible care. These commitments reveal another dimension of her character: patience, empathy, and quiet dedication. Harris has never been one to seek headlines for her generosity. Instead, she channels her visibility toward meaningful impact. The simplicity of her later years stands in contrast to the relentless pace of her early career. It suggests a woman who has learned that fulfillment is not measured solely in accolades, but in alignment between values, actions, and art. A legacy of integrity. Emmylou Harris's legacy extends beyond awards and chart positions. She expanded the boundaries of country music without rejecting its roots, weaving folk, rock, and Americana influences into a cohesive whole. She proved that an artist can evolve without abandoning authenticity. Her voice, gentle yet unwavering, remains a refuge for listeners navigating their own crossroads. More importantly, her life models the courage to choose. She chose music over certainty, reinvention over stagnation, independence over expectation. She allowed herself to grow older without disguising time's imprint on her voice. In doing so, she offered something rare in the entertainment world: continuity with integrity. Today, when that unmistakable tone rises, it carries decades of experience, joy, change, resilience, and grace. Harris stands not as a symbol of perfection, but as an example of perseverance. She reminds us that artistry is not about staying in the spotlight forever. It is about staying true to oneself long after the lights dim.